My family wanted me to plan my vacation around my sister and her kids, and they got really mad when I didn't. So I stopped talking to them much and ignored their comments. But 2 months later, they showed up at my door. "Hey, Reddit," I said, getting ready to share. "Before I start, I've noticed this channel slowing down a bit. If you want to help, please subscribe. It's free and really supports our community. I've always been the independent one in my family. I don't have kids, I don't live near them, and I don't plan my life around birthdays or holidays like they do. That doesn't mean I don't love them, I do, but I also have my own plans, goals, and way of living. Somehow, that makes me the bad guy." This all began when I planned a 2-week vacation in September. It was perfect, work was slow, flights were cheap, and I had saved up for a solo trip through the Pacific Northwest. I wanted to hike in the mornings, read by lakes in the afternoons, and totally disconnect. That was my dream. The problem was that my sister Hannah and her 3 kids were also planning a vacation, and the rest of the family expected me to align my trip with theirs. They brought it up during a family Zoom call in July. My mom said, "It would be so nice if you could join us in Florida in mid-August. Hannah already booked the place, and the kids would love to see you." I replied politely but firmly, "I've already made plans for September, and it's a solo trip I really need." The silence on the call was immediate. Hannah sighed loudly, my dad muttered something about priorities, and my mom, who always tries to be the peacekeeper, just said, "Well, we thought you'd want to be with family. You've been so distant lately." That comment stung more than I care to admit. Distant? Maybe, but only because every family gathering had turned into some chaotic, kid-centric event where I ended up babysitting or sleeping on a couch while everyone else got the master bedrooms. I'm not exaggerating. Once, Hannah asked me to change my return flight so I could stay an extra day to watch her twins while she and her husband went on a date. I used to bend over backward for them, but I'm 30 now, and I'm tired of being the default helper. After the call, I got a slew of texts. Hannah said I was selfish. My mom said she was disappointed. My brother, who is mostly a neutral party, asked if I was okay but gently reminded me that family should come first. I didn't respond to most of them. I went ahead with my plans, booked my flights, and limited my contact over the next couple of months. I stopped joining weekly calls. I didn't comment on Facebook photos of their vacation, and when they posted beach pics with captions like "family is everything," I simply muted them. I wasn't angry, I just didn't have the energy for the guilt trips anymore, and I was happy for the first time in months. My trip was everything I needed: peaceful, beautiful. I hiked in the rain, journaled every night, and didn't check my phone unless I had to. I felt like I was finally living in alignment with who I really was. When I got back, I eased into work and resumed my life quietly. I figured the dust had settled. I was wrong. 2 months after my trip, on a rainy Saturday morning, I heard a knock at my apartment door. I wasn't expecting anyone. I live in a mid-sized city a few hours from where my parents and sister live. Most of my friends text before showing up, so I opened the door with a bit of confusion and nearly dropped my coffee. Hannah was standing there, and behind her were her 3 kids, ages 6, 8, and 12, wet from the rain and carrying backpacks. No warning, no text, nothing. I just blinked. "What are you doing here?" I asked. Her expression was already defensive. She didn't smile. She looked like she was bracing for a fight. "We're in the neighborhood," she said. "The kids missed you, and you haven't answered anyone in weeks." I stood there, heart racing, trying to process what was happening. "You didn't call," I said slowly. "We figured it would be better to just talk in person," she replied, pushing past me and walking into my apartment like she owned the place. The kids followed her in, already kicking off their shoes and unpacking snacks from their bags. My tiny apartment, normally so quiet, was instantly loud and chaotic. The youngest spilled juice on my carpet within 3 minutes. I closed the door, stunned. Hannah talked nonstop about how hard it's been without my support, how mom's worried sick, and how the kids cry because they miss me. I didn't say anything. I was too busy feeling the panic crawl up my spine. I'm not used to people barging into my space. My home is my sanctuary. And yet here they were, unpacking for what seemed like an extended stay, as if I was the one who'd gone wrong by setting a boundary. They stayed for 6 hours. They ate my food, messed up my apartment, used my towels, and treated me like a guest in my own home. When I tried to say something, Hannah talked over me or shifted the conversation to how the kids just wanted to reconnect. And I didn't want to be cruel. I love my nieces and nephew, but this wasn't right. Eventually, when I hinted strongly that I had plans that night and needed to get ready, She finally gathered the kids, no apology, just a passive-aggressive hug and a muttered, "Maybe next time you won't ignore your family." When the door finally shut behind them, I sat down on the couch and cried. It wasn't just about the surprise visit, it was the culmination of years of being treated like the flexible one, the disposable one, the person without a family of my own who could adjust her schedule at a moment's notice. My time, my space, and my energy had never been respected, and now they'd crossed a line. I didn't answer when my mom called the next day. I needed time to think, to decide what to do next, because this wasn't sustainable anymore. I couldn't be the family's emotional punching bag, emergency babysitter, or default host. Something needed to change. But I had no idea that Hannah showing up at my door was only the beginning. The following week was pure silence from me. I didn't call, didn't text, didn't answer anything, not because I wanted to punish anyone, but because I needed to breathe without guilt clouding every thought. That silence didn't last long on their end. By Tuesday, my mom had sent me a long email. She opened with her usual tone of concern, but it quickly turned into a list of complaints: how I was pulling away from the family, how Hannah had just wanted to reconnect, how I'd broken everyone's hearts by checking out during the summer and choosing my trip over the kids. It ended with a line that made my stomach twist: "You're not a mother, so maybe you don't understand what family means." That quiet little stab told me everything I needed to know. So I wrote back. I didn't hold back anymore. I told her everything, how I've always been the one expected to bend and adjust, to be the flexible sister who'd watch the kids, give up her room, or rearrange her life so everyone else could be comfortable. I told her how exhausting it's been to always be seen as less because I don't have children, as if my worth were tied to reproduction. And I told her how deeply inappropriate it was for Hannah to show up unannounced, invade my space, and then act like I was the problem for being uncomfortable. I ended the email with one line: "I love you, but if this family continues to treat my boundaries as betrayals, I will step back permanently." That must have scared her, because she didn't reply for 2 days. Then came a phone call. I didn't answer. A few hours later, Hannah texted me. Not an apology, not even acknowledgement, just, "You didn't need to make mom cry. You always take things too far." I stared at that message for a long time, and then I blocked her, not out of rage, but because I knew this was the cycle. Hannah acts selfishly, the family enables it. I react, and then I'm the bad guy for not being gracious enough. I was done playing that part. A few days later, my brother, always the quiet middle child and the peacekeeper, called. He said he wanted to come visit just to talk. I hesitated but agreed, because unlike the others, he respected my space. When he showed up, he brought coffee and sat across from me like he actually wanted to listen. I told him everything: how suffocated I'd felt, how the family had treated me like an unpaid babysitter for years, and how being child-free didn't mean I was selfish or directionless. He nodded through most of it, then said something that surprised me. "You know, you're not wrong, but I think Mom and Hannah genuinely don't see it. They're so wrapped up in their own chaos that they assume you're just floating around waiting to help." That hit harder than I expected, not because I didn't know it was true, but because hearing it from someone else made it real. He asked me what I wanted. I told him I needed distance, not forever, but enough to reset. I needed them to understand I wasn't their emotional workhorse, their single sister with infinite time and patience. I was a full person with a life deserving the same respect they expected for theirs. He nodded again and left. No promises, no defenses, just acceptance. Weeks passed. I didn't hear from my mom or my sister. It was like I'd been erased from the group chat. I should have felt sad. Part of me did, but mostly I felt peace, real, quiet, restorative peace. Until mid-November. It was a Friday evening when I saw a group text from my mom, with everyone included, even me. The message was an invitation: Thanksgiving dinner at Hannah's house. Everyone was welcome, and she made sure to add, "We really hope you'll come this time. No pressure, just love." I stared at it for 10 full minutes. It looked innocent, kind, even, but I knew what it was: a reset attempt. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a blank slate invitation like nothing had happened. And I wasn't going to play along. So I replied, "Thank you, but I'll be spending Thanksgiving at home this year. Wishing everyone a peaceful holiday. No drama, just truth." Hannah didn't reply. My mom sent a thumbs up emoji. That was it. And you know what? That Thanksgiving was one of the best I've ever had. I cooked my favorite meal, listened to music all morning, ate pie straight from the tin, FaceTimed a few close friends, and went for a long walk through the quiet streets while the whole city was busy inside. I didn't feel alone. I felt free. Things have been calmer since then. My mom has started talking to me again, but now she's asking real questions, like how work is going or what book I'm reading. They're small things, but they feel honest. Hannah is still blocked. I don't miss the drama she brings. Maybe we'll talk someday, but only if she can admit what she did and treat me like an equal, not a babysitter, not someone to fix everything, not the one who has to carry everyone's emotions. For the first time, I'm living for myself, and I'm not turning back.